Hey everyone, I'm old FanBoy. How's your day going?
This is Unlocked, the show where I unlock trophies and tell you if it was worth my time or not. Guys, I had a blast last time completing Jak and Daxter, so I figured to stick with Naughty Dog for another episode. But instead of going to Jak 2 and experiencing all of that, let's skip a generation and take a look at something on the PS3. So after the PS2 wowed my socks off and destroyed my only supporting one console rule, I decided to stick with Sony and buy this overpriced massive slab. Yep, all my friends jumped ship to the 360, but I decided to stay on the sinking PlayStation ship. The early days of the PS3 were rough, way more expensive than the competitors, no exclusives that really wowed anyone, and some crazy install times. This didn't bother me though, since I could see the games I wanted in the future. I just had to wait it out with, Ass Creed 1. This all changed for me though in my first week of college. Living in the dorms, I met a bunch of guys, and we would often go out for drinks. One night, one of these guys just happened to forget his wallet and ended up with me paying for most of his bill, along with, dragging his drunk ass home. Not having the cash to pay me back, he decided to pay me back in games, and allowed me to ruffle through his collection. I got 2 games out of it. One was Mirror's Edge, this cool first-person parkour game, which I beat, but it just wasn't my thing, aka I sucked. No way could I make those time trials. The other game I ended up taking is what we're talking about today, Uncharted Drakes Fortune, which I might have passed for if not for the fact that I saw it was developed by Naughty Dog. I don't know if Uncharted had a big advertising push, but I hadn't heard of it, but at the time I also wasn't as big into new games as I am now. So when I threw it into my PS3 and tried it out, I was blown away. I hadn't played any Gears of War, so Uncharted was my first experience with a third-person cover shooter, a genre which ended up oversaturating this gen, but I won't hold it anything against an early adapter. Plus, the game's adventure serial tone and characters really spoke to me. Being a kid that had grown up watching the Indiana Jones trilogy over and over again, this stuff was my jam. So today, I'm going to unlock all the trophies in Uncharted Drakes Fortune. Originally released on the PS3, but I'll be playing the remastered PS4 version from the NathanDrakeCollection. So just what is Uncharted Drakes Fortune? Follows the adventure of our hero, treasure hunter Nathan Drake, and his buddy Victor Sullivan, as they track down the legendary treasure El Dorado, which his ancestor Francis Drake was said to have discovered. However, Scully's gambling debts have caught up to him, leading these dicks, Roman and Navarro, to the treasure hunt, shooting Scully and trying to kill Nate as well. Nathan teams up with journalist Alina Fisher to travel to the island where the treasure was last spotted, getting separated again and again and again. There they encounter pirates led by this guy, Eddie Raja, who has some unresolved beef with Nate from a past adventure and is now working with Roman. Nate and Alina must traverse the island and fight any pirates and mercs they come across, uncovering secrets and mysteries of the island and dealing with all kinds of twists and turns before riding off into the sunset. What really sold this story for me was the performances. Nolan North's voice acting as Nathan Drake is just perfect as this cocky, roguish action hero, always having a good one-liner to cap off the action, or sighing at the right time to make the character feel just real.
That's probably bad.
And the rest of the cast does a great job too, but Nolan really sells it.
Hey, watch your step down.
Oh my god. No.
As I said earlier, Uncharted is a third-person cover shooter with light exploration, platforming, and puzzles. It goes from combat arena to combat arena, with the puzzles and exploration in between, and a few vehicle sequences to mix things up here and there. In these fights, Nate can use his hands to take out enemies, but this will leave him exposed to gunfire, so you'll spend most of the game in cover. In cover, Nate can use a sidearm and a main weapon, along with grenades to beat up hundreds of enemies. Nate takes one shot and he's down, but the game isn't really that hard. See, Nate's kind of the luckiest guy out there, as most bullets will always miss him, but the more shots that miss him, the more his luck runs out, and the screen gets red. It's basically just a standard regenerating health red screen mechanic, but with a narrative twist. Because adventure heroes are always dodging bullets like that. But let's get on to the trophies. Here's my path to the platinum. Step 1. Beat the game 2 or 3 times. First off, you'll have to beat the game once to unlock crushing difficulty. This is the game's very hard mode. Difficulty trophies stack, so beating the game on hard will also unlock the easy and normal trophy. That said, I still recommend taking at least 3 playthroughs. That way I'm fully familiarized with the level layouts by the time I get to crushing, which I'll kinda need. And to give myself more opportunities to use certain guns, which I'll get into later. Normal is a cakewalk. As long as you don't get caught in some of those special rooms, it's easy. Hard I feel is the appropriate challenge. Enemies keep you on your toes, but it doesn't feel unfair and the action stays fast. Crushing just kinda sucks. Sorry guys, I do not like playing on this difficulty. Every enemy is a sharpshooter and Drake's luck runs out in no time, so you'll spend all of your time in cover waiting for your luck to reload. Not to mention ammo is more sparse, so you're often forced to go into fist fights in the middle of gunfire, which just means instant deaths. Whenever I go back to these games, I never play on this difficulty. If I want to show someone the story, I'll just play normal. If I want to play and have fun and a bit of a challenge, I go on hard. And I'm having a good time. I'm not having a good time when I'm playing on crushing. And in no place is that more apparent than those special rooms I mentioned earlier. These places go on forever, and the enemies constantly change their spawning points, so at some point they'll spawn behind you, and if you're not moving fast enough, you'll just be dead in a second. And be right back at the beginning of the fight. These places all suck on crushing. The Blue Room, the Auction House, the Church, just to name a few, and the worst of all, the last chapter. Instead of a cool epic fight, it's this slow slog of a fight in which the enemy can kill you in one shot and you're just constantly in cover, waiting to just pop out and just get a few shots before you're back down. It's pretty disappointing, but all the good bits before that make up for the lame ending. Which brings us to our next bit. Step 2. Combat. First up, every weapon has a trophy associated with it. Just get enough kills with that weapon. This is why I suggested 3 playthroughs, since you only get a few chances to use certain weapons in one playthrough. This also leads to those dumb points when I can tell a fight's coming and I should switch to weapons that have more ammo, but instead I'm like, nah, I'm going to stick with this shotgun with 3 shots because I need that trophy, and I don't need the AK trophy anymore, I got that long ago. Secondly, we got headshots. Obviously, since it's a shooter, you gotta go for the head. Getting 20, 100, or 250 headshots will earn you the trophy, along with getting 5 headshots in a row. I got these all before the halfway point of the game, into my first playthrough, so just prioritize headshots over body shots. Next we got the running gunner. By firing without aiming, Nate will fire from the hip. Less accurate, but fast, and can be pretty useful during speedrunning. Take out another 20 guys with hip fire to earn this one. At various points in the game, Nate can climb ledges to get from point A to point B. Sometimes you'll encounter enemies while climbing, or you'll get the drop on some guys. Take out another 20 guys when climbing with guns and you'll get the hangman. Take out another 20 while hanging but with grenades for the grenade hangman. And speaking of explosions, you'll have to take out 3 enemies with 1 explosion 5 times to earn the dynamite trophies. Just gotta wait for those opportunities when you see large groups and you got grenades, or you see a bunch of guys hanging around an explosive barrel. Moving on to hand-to-hand, we have the brutal combo trophies. By hitting square, triangle, square, Drake will take down an enemy with a fast, brutal combo. For your 5th and your 20th combo, you'll unlock a trophy, as well as doing 5 in a row. For the 5 in a row, I just reloaded the first chapter since I couldn't find a point to do it naturally in the game. Next we got the Steel Fist trophies. By weakening an enemy with gunfire, Nate can one-punch some enemies. Doing this 5 times will unlock 1 trophy, but the real challenge will be taking out 10 guys in a row with the Steel Fist. The hardest part is judging just how much damage I've done before going for the punch. Next we go Ninja, as Drake can sneak up on unsuspecting foes and stealthily take them out. The game usually gives you an opportunity to take out 1 or 2 guys at the start of a fight before the others notice Drake snapping necks, so you should be able to get it in your first or second playthrough. And lastly, Nate will have to survive long enough to take out 75 guys without dying. The game has no game overs or continues, so if you die, you just go back to the last checkpoint. So this is your only real incentive not to die. I didn't find this hard on any difficulty except crushing. The only real challenge came from the platforming, since I would usually just kind of fling Nate at whatever I think is the right ledge, and usually I'm wrong. Step 3. Collectibles. Across Nate's adventure, he can find little treasures along the way. These are often off to the side or at the end of a little bonus platforming. There are 60 in total for you to find in most levels, as well as the strange relic, which you should recognize from last week's episode as a precursor orb. Gather up all these to earn the Master Treasure Hunter. On my first playthrough, I didn't really care. If I saw something shining, I'd grab it. On my second playthrough, I really went out of my way to make sure I had them all. The chapter select screen can show you how many the treasures you have and how many you're missing, making it easier to find those missing guys. Step 4. Speed runs. New to the remastered Nathan Drake collection are the speedrun modes, which allow you to time yourself as you play through an entire campaign or just an individual chapter. For this, you'll have to beat Chapter 5 in 10 minutes, Chapter 12 in 5 minutes, and Chapter 16 in 7 minutes. Chapter 5 is a bit of a hassle, but nothing I couldn't speed through. Chapter 12 is a joke. Just blast past everything and didn't bother fighting anyone. Too easy. Piece of cake. Chapter 16 is the only one I considered hard. I found I had to be always moving and memorize the path or I'd mess it up, but after a couple tries I was able to get it. Step 5. Photo mode. Lastly, all you'll have to do is just pause the game and play around with the photo mode. Nothing really to say here. I know some people can really make some funny pictures out of this, but it just wasn't really my thing. And with that, you'll unlock Uncharted Drakes Fortune's Platinum. Wow, really inventive there, guys. Yeah, I'll just say here, Uncharted did the thing that earlier trophies did, which has always been a bit of a pet peeve of mine. Instead of having cool images for every trophy, they just make like one of each type, like a bronze, silver, gold, plat, and then like that's all you get. This just always came off to me as really kind of lazy when, you know, you'd see other games that would just make every trophy look so cool and unique. But anyway, Uncharted is a good game. Its gameplay might be a bit repetitive since it's an early cover shooter, but the characters in the mood far more than make up for it. The only really downside I had with it was just the last chapter. It didn't really feel like a final test of all my abilities to that point. It was just waiting for my turn to shoot and then a QuickTime event boss, which just kind of lame. At least that's something that they would fix in the future, and then fuck up again. Onto the trophy side, there's only one bit about this hunt I couldn't stand, and you've already heard me complain about it. It's the crushing difficulty. It's just not fun and a slog to get through. Sure, I feel great after getting through one of those stupid special rooms, but it's just not worth the time of dying over and over again. Honestly, if you're not good at shooters, you might just want to skip this one and head for the sequel. On the other hand, the combat trophies do make you use all the tools in your arsenal, and the treasures make you thoroughly explore each stage just like a treasure hunter should, so it's still got plenty of positives, but my god, does crushing mode suck in this game. So with that, I'm giving Uncharted Drakes Fortune a gold trophy, and its trophy hunt is getting us silver. It's a great game, but its trophy hunt might not be for everyone. And that's our show for today, folks. Have you played Uncharted Drakes Fortune? Were you able to complete it? Let me know how far you got and what other games I should play on future episodes of Unlocked. I'm the FanBoy, signing off, and I'll see you next time. Take it easy, everyone.